They told me to use the back door. Said guests come through the front. It was Thanksgiving, and the cold air bit sharply at my face as I stood there on the back porch, hands full, balancing bottles of wine and dessert. Looking like some kind of delivery boy. My wife opened the door just a crack. No smile, just a tight nod, her eyes flicking past me like I was nothing more than a shadow. Inside, the house smelled of rosemary, turkey, and something else, something colder. Hypocrisy. Her family. That pristine collection of smug smiles and whispered judgments. Barely even acknowledged I was there. When I asked where I should sit, her mother didn't even look up from the cranberry sauce. She just pointed toward the kitchen. That table's for overflow, she said. Overflow. That was me now. Overflow. So I sat alone in a plastic chair. No tablecloth. No warm conversation. Just a clink of silverware and distant laughter from the dining room, where everyone else belonged. I said nothing, didn't need to. I was watching. And then it happened. Their wealthiest guest, Leonard Drake, showed up late. A real estate mogul. A name big enough to straighten backs and stiffen necks. He stepped to the front door in his tailored coat, kissed cheeks, shook hands, then suddenly caught sight of me in the kitchen. He paused mid-step and said with a slow, deliberate smile, "Good to see you, boss." The room went utterly silent, like the air was sucked out all at once. I nodded slowly. Likewise, Leonard. The world spun, but I stayed still, because that moment, right there, that was when the game changed. You see, I wasn't always overflow. There was a time when her parents treated me like royalty. Back when I was a rising star in tech. The young CEO with angel investors and flashy headlines. Back when I was useful. They called me family then. Her mother cried at our wedding, calling me the son she never had. Her father gifted me a Rolex, saying I was the future. But when my company hit a rough patch, when I refused to sell to a corporate shark, when I chose principle over profit, they turned. Quietly, coldly, like flipping a switch. My wife followed their lead. I became the cautionary tale, the failure, the one they whispered about but never wanted guests to ask. She said I embarrassed her, that I dressed down too much, talked too little, and made everyone uncomfortable. What she really meant was, I wasn't rich anymore, and in her world, that was far worse than being unfaithful. But none of them knew the whole story. I hadn't sold my company to the highest bidder because I was already deep in talks with Leonard Drake. We'd been negotiating quietly under NDA, backroom deals, and hush meetings. He wanted to build a tech wing in his real estate empire. He wanted me to lead it. We signed papers 3 weeks before Thanksgiving. But I told no one, not her family. I let them believe whatever they wanted because I had a better plan. I started moving in silence, shifting assets, setting up trusts, cleaning up my online profile. I made myself invisible on purpose. Forgettable. I let her think she had the upper hand. Let her talk down to me in front of her friends. Let her flirt openly at dinners. I collected every whisper, every careless word, every slight. The house was in my name. Bought it before the marriage, before the prenup took effect. Her father never even read the fine print. He thought I needed his lawyer. I just smiled and quietly used my own to protect everything. Thanksgiving was the first domino. Leonard's little slip? No accident. I invited him personally. I knew he'd arrive late, make an entrance, recognize me, call me boss. Her father looked utterly confused. Her mother looked like she'd swallowed her tongue. My wife tried to laugh it off, said Leonard must be mistaken. She called me still between things. Leonard raised a brow. You didn't tell them about the acquisition? The silence that followed was a thing of dark, beautiful power. Her mother stammered. Her father choked on his wine. My wife just stared. I let the weight hang heavy in the room. Then I stood up, walked calmly into the dining room, and placed my plate, half-finished turkey and all, right in the center of their perfect table. Took the wine glass from the middle and poured myself a drink. I own the tech firm that just merged with Drake Properties. I said, voice steady. We close in January. Valuations north of 9 figures. I took a slow sip. So, yeah, good to be here. The fallout was instant. Her father desperately tried to reattach the smile he'd worn at our wedding. Her mother suddenly remembered my favorite pie. My wife reached out to touch my arm. I pulled away politely. I let them scramble, let them apologize, reintroduce me to guests like some lost treasure. But I was done playing their game. The next day, she came to me crying, stressed and pressured by her family. She said she loved me. I listened. Then I handed her an envelope. Inside, divorce papers, dated, signed, filed. She stared. "You're leaving me?" "No," I said quietly. "You left me the moment I became inconvenient." She begged, blamed her parents, said I blindsided her. So I reminded her of the camera in the guest room, the one that caught her with a family friend during my business trip last month. She didn't know I knew. Not until then. I didn't raise my voice. Didn't rage. Just laid the facts down, brick by brick, cold and final. The house was mine. The stocks protected. The NDA she signed before marriage was ironclad. She left that night, screaming, threatening, crying. I didn't follow. 3 months later, I watched on the top floor of our old house as a moving truck hauled her designer luggage back to her parents' mansion. The same mansion quietly being investigated for tax fraud, thanks to a tip I anonymously sent, backed by documents I accidentally found during family dinners. Her father lost a seat on the boards of 3 nonprofits. Her mother stopped hosting brunch. Last I heard, my ex-wife was dating a crypto bro with too many teeth and not enough sense. Me? I walk through the front door now. Everywhere I go, and every Thanksgiving I host, I make sure everyone eats at the same table. Because I don't believe in overflow, not anymore.